Welcome to the channel Exploring Mysteries. We are happy to accompany you in today's video. What if a single comic book could predict the end of the world? Imagine this. A retired Japanese manga artist, obscure for decades, publishes a prophecy that not only foreshadows a devastating earthquake, but also warns of a global catastrophe set for the 5th of July, 2025, a date now just weeks away. Why is the world holding its breath? Is this another overhyped doomsday scare like 2012? Or could it be humanity's final warning? Buckle up, because today we're diving into the chilling prophecy of Rio Tasuki, a story so wild it'll keep you glued to your screen. The buzz started with a manga called The Future I Saw, published in 1999 by Rio Tasuki, a little-known artist who retired at 45 after a modest career. On the cover, she boldly predicted a great disaster for March 2011. When Japan's catastrophic 3/11 earthquake and tsunami struck, killing over 15,000 people and causing $235 billion in damages, Tasuki was hailed as a modern-day Nostradamus. Social media exploded with claims that she had made 15 prophecies, 13 of which allegedly came true. But here's the kicker. In 2021, at age 66, Tasuki re-emerged with a revised edition of her manga, clarifying that her real warning wasn't about 2011. It was about a far worse disaster slated for 4:18 a.m. on the 5th of July, 2025. She described a cataclysm in the Pacific where the ocean would split, lava would surge, and tsunamis as tall as mountains would engulf entire regions. Can you imagine the panic? The internet went wild. And now, with the date looming, people are asking, is this prophecy real? Or are we falling for another apocalyptic hoax? Personally, I'm torn. The 2011 prediction was eerily accurate, but history is littered with doomsday predictions that fizzled out. Remember Y2K or the Mayan calendar? Yet, Tasuki's story feels different. Her quiet life, her sudden disappearance after 1999, and her reluctance to embrace fame make her seem less like a publicity seeker and more like someone genuinely haunted by visions. Could she have tapped into something real? Or are we just desperate to find meaning in a chaotic world? One thing's certain, this mystery is too gripping to ignore. Let's step into the enigmatic world of Rio Tasuki, a woman whose dreams seem to blur the line between imagination and reality. Born in 1954, Tasuki spent over 25 years as a manga artist, crafting stories for young girls that never quite broke into the mainstream. She was no superstar, her work was niche, her life unremarkable. But in 1999, at 45, she shocked her small fan base by retiring and releasing The Future I Saw, a manga unlike anything she'd done before. This wasn't a fluffy teen romance. It was a cryptic warning of disasters to come, rooted in what she claimed were prophetic dreams. Tasuki's visions began in 1976, at age 22, when she dreamed of the death of Freddie Mercury, the legendary Queen frontman. In her dream, a television broadcast announced his passing, leaving her and a friend devastated. She woke up, relieved it was just a dream, but jotted it down on a sketchpad. 15 years later, in 1991, Mercury's actual death from AIDS complications mirrored her vision, down to the late November timing. Then, in 1992, she dreamed of a woman named Diana cradling a child in a castle, followed by a car crash. 5 years later, in 1997, Princess Diana's fatal accident shook the world. Eerily, both dreams followed what Tasuki called a multiples of 5 pattern events, unfolding 5, 10, or 15 years after her visions. Her most haunting dream came in 1981, depicting a tsunami swallowing Japan, with lava erupting from the sea and ghostly ships carrying souls to the afterlife. She linked this to her 1,999 manga's warning of a 2011 disaster, but later clarified it pointed to the 5th of July, 2025. What's chilling is how personal these dreams felt to her. As a child, she sensed a cosmic presence watching her, even dreaming of a Christ-like figure at age 9. In 1998, a trip to India to meet the spiritual leader Sai Baba left her feeling awakened, as if her purpose was to warn humanity. Here's where I get skeptical. Dreams are trick your brains, weave stories from fragments of memory and imagination. Could Tasuki's visions be vivid coincidences, amplified by her belief in a divine mission? Yet, her precision with dates and details, like the 2011 earthquake, gives me pause. I think of my own grandmother, who once dreamed of a fire in our neighborhood the night before it happened. Was it intuition, luck, or something more? Tasuki's story reminds me that sometimes the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary is razor thin. Now, let's ground this eerie tale in science, because the prophecy of the 5th of July, 2025, isn't just a wild story, it's backed by some unsettling discoveries. Rio Tasuki's visions describe a cataclysm in the Pacific, with the ocean splitting and lava erupting, triggering tsunamis that could reshape coastlines. Sounds like science fiction, right? But in 2019, researchers from the Philippines and New Zealand uncovered something that sent chills through the scientific community. A supervolcano named Apolaki, lurking 300 kilometers east of Luzon in the Philippine Sea. With a staggering 150-kilometer diameter, it dwarfs Yellowstone's 60-kilometer caldera, which could already devastate a continent. If Apolaki were to erupt, it could unleash a catastrophe beyond imagination, potentially flooding East Asia and the Pacific with tsunamis and ash. Tasuki's dream also mentions a fracture in the sea between Japan, the Philippines, and Taiwan, with boiling lava and land expanding before the waves hit. This aligns with real geological risks. The Philippine Sea Plate, a diamond-shaped tectonic slab, sits at the heart of this region, squeezed between the Pacific and Eurasian plates. The Nankai Trough, a fault line south of Japan, is a known hotspot for megaquakes. In March 2025, Japan's seismic experts estimated an 80% chance of a magnitude 9.1 earthquake within 30 years, with activity already spiking in 2024. A rupture here could trigger tsunamis far larger than the 10-30-meter waves of 2011. Add to that the discovery of floating pumice islands near New Zealand in 2021, remnants of an undersea volcanic eruption, and Tasuki's visions start to feel less like fantasy. But here's where I wrestle with this. Science confirms the risks, but a supervolcano eruption on the scale Tasuki describes would be a once-in-a-million-years event. The Toba eruption 74,000 years ago nearly wiped out humanity, and Apolaki could be worse. Yet, there's no clear sign it's waking up. I think of a friend who lives in Tokyo, always joking about earthquake drills but secretly anxious. If Tasuki's right, his city could be underwater. Still, I wonder if we're connecting dots too eagerly, seeing patterns where there's only chance. Science gives us clues, but it doesn't confirm doomsday yet. The overlap is too uncanny to dismiss outright. So, are we staring down a cosmic coincidence or a genuine warning from the universe? As the clock ticks toward the 5th of July, 2025, Rio Tasuki's prophecy isn't the only one raising eyebrows. Other voices, from ancient seers to modern mystics, seem to converge on this date, creating a web of predictions that's hard to ignore. Take Anand, a young Indian prodigy who, in a March 2025 video, warned of a dangerous new cycle for Earth, pinpointing two disaster zones, the Himalayas and the Pacific Ring of Fire, from North to South America. He flagged March and July through October 2025 as critical windows. Chillingly, the 28th of March 2025 earthquake in Myanmar aligned with his first prediction, shaking the Himalayan region. Now, with July looming, his warning about the Pacific feels like it's echoing Tasuki's vision of a sea-splitting cataclysm. Then there's the strange case of the Ghost Island off New Zealand. In 2021, satellite images captured a landmass twice the size of Jamaica, only for it to vanish days later. Scientists later confirmed it was a massive raft of pumice from an undersea volcanic eruption, exactly the kind of phenomenon Tasuki described in her dreams of floating land before a tsunami. Add to that the uptick in seismic activity along Japan's Nankai Trough, where experts reported unusual fault movements in 2024, and it's enough to make you wonder, Are these random events? Or are they pieces of a puzzle pointing to 2025? I've got to be honest, this convergence gives me goosebumps, but it also makes me question our pattern-seeking brains. I remember a colleague who swore her tarot cards predicted a car accident, only for it to happen a week later. Was it fate? Or did she just notice what fit her narrative? The same could apply here. Prophecies like Tasuki's and Anand's thrive on vague details that we retroactively match to events. Yet, the specificity of the 5th of July, 2025, at 4:18 a.m., and the overlap with real scientific risks like the Apalaki supervolcano make this feel less like coincidence and more like a wake-up call. Could the universe really be screaming at us to pay attention? As we stand on the edge of the 5th of July, 2025, the question looms, what do we do with a prophecy like Rio Tasuki's? Her visions of a world rocked by tsunamis and volcanic chaos are terrifying, but they also force us to confront our place in an unpredictable universe. Whether her dreams are divine warnings or vivid coincidences, they remind us of our fragility and our resilience. Tasuki herself wrote in 2021 that her mission was to warn humanity, not to predict inevitable doom. She saw a world after the disaster, split between despair and hope, where those who clung to faith and love found a path forward. That's what sticks with me. The idea that even in the face of catastrophe, we have a choice in how we respond. Take the story of Aiko, a woman I met while researching this topic. Living in coastal Japan, she survived the 2011 tsunami that claimed her home and her brother. The trauma left her paralyzed by fear of the sea, but she rebuilt her life by volunteering to teach children about disaster preparedness. Aiko told me, "I can't stop the waves, but I can teach others to swim." Her story mirrors what Tasuki's prophecy suggests. Disasters may come, but our actions before and after shape the outcome. Another example is Carlos, a Filipino fisherman near the Apalaki supervolcano's region. He's heard the warnings but refuses to leave his village. "This is my home," he said. "If the sea rises, I'll face it with my family." Their courage isn't about denying danger. It's about embracing life despite it. My take? Tasuki's prophecy, whether true or not, is a call to action. We can't control supervolcanoes or fault lines, but we can prepare mentally, emotionally, and practically. Stockpiling supplies, learning evacuation routes, or even just cherishing our loved ones more deeply, these are acts of defiance against fear. If the 5th of July, 2025, passes quietly, we'll have lost nothing by being ready. And if the worst happens, those preparations could save lives. Tasuki's dreams, to me, aren't about predicting the end, but about urging us to live more fully now. What do you think about this topic? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to stay updated on our latest videos. We'd love to hear from you. For now, goodbye and see you next time.